No shit.
There we go.
Another edition of the Real Spiel podcast. Monday night, June 2nd. Trevor Kelsey here with you with the brains to my pinkies. Will Wigington, as you can see up in the upper left-hand corner right now, right? It depends on which way you're looking at us. And if you don't know the person up in my butt, my other shoulder, that's okay. You'll get to know him, love him, hate him, cuss at him, whatever you want. Kendall Fuller joining us for the first time here tonight is a privilege to us. First, Will, good seeing you. But since we already know you, step aside. Kendall, thank you for being on with us tonight. Tell us a little about yourself.
Thank you for having me. I'm just another diehard U of L fan out here, sports fan. Just living life, just dealing with school.
Okay, Kendall, a little fan. You are a Warriors fan in basketball, because we'll talk NBA here in a second, and
get
your thoughts on that as well. Will, how have you been over the last 7 days or so?
Doing pretty well. Just going through school and work as usual.
How's school going?
Could be worse. Like I was saying off air, there was a class that started tonight that I didn't know about, so I feel like the biggest moron of all time. But yeah, otherwise it's going. Not having fun in summer classes, but
do you take a lot of online classes?
So in this summer semester, we're only allowed to take one online class, which I'm taking right now. So everything else is in person. That'll be the only online class I'll take in the whole program. So.
And now it's been now sadly say 20 years since I was a freshman in college. If that makes you think I'm in my 30s, thank you, Lord. I love you, but I'm not. I was the one that took just like the 12 hours. And people. Now, keep in mind also, I had to work 2 jobs as well at the time when I was there, serving at a Pizza Hut and a Lone Star. Yes, I served at Pizza Hut. Easy money. Don't knock it. It's like an easy $50 every night. Plus, I had breadsticks free to take home. Took too many. Kendall, you're a student at U of L too, though. Do you do any online classes?
Yeah, I had to do because I work at UPS. I did all but one of my classes online, so got a little bit. It is tricky for sure, but I started college in the pandemic era, so none of this is really that. I mean, yeah.
I just have all these college kids around. I feel like I'm like Jim Belushi in Animal House over here. These college. I got professors over here. What the hell? All right, guys. Over the last week, we did somewhat of a stream earlier where I went on basically admitting that I didn't know you could be born. I thought you had to be born being lactose intolerant, and apparently I thought you had to be born to have allergies, and apparently you did. And if you want to laugh at me a little more in depth like they did, you can go watch that somehow wherever it is in the cloud. But also, you also missed where I apparently have tennis elbow. Yet, have the last time I've never been on a tennis court that didn't involve me drinking beer and smoking weed, but I apparently have woken up today at 45 with tennis elbow from sleeping on my arm wrong for the last 10 hours because I slept for 10 hours. So that is the update for TK over there for you. Not as riveting as you two guys. For Louisville updates, we'll get into that. But first, before we do that, I got to say, I am a Pacer fan. Been 25 years. I don't think either of you two were alive the last time we went to the finals. Which
it was the year I was born, but I was not allowed
to walk out the window like Tommen, but I live in a first floor apartment, so it'd probably be pointless to do anyway. If I could get through it, then I'm not. Pacers in the East. Let's start looking at the finals. We'll break down the Pacers in OK City, but first, your thoughts. We'll start with you because we knew you picked it wrong. Pacers beating the Knicks. Surprised, shocked, just kind of like I didn't see it coming, but I'm not shocked.
Not surprised with the result. And kind of shocked not shocked, but more so disappointed in the way it happened, I guess is the way to put it, rather than shocked. Especially in Game 6. It felt like the Knicks, they were trying really hard on offense, but the one thing that they did well when they were beating the Pacers in Games 3 and Games 5 was slowing down the fast break and holding them to 100 points or less. That was their only recipe for success in that series. And the way that they had to do that was stop the fast break by any means necessary. And they didn't just stop the fast break. They gave up several buckets off of makes. And that just, that's lazy defense. That's a lack of drive. And the Pacers, They said after Game 5, Pascal Siakam said that the Knicks simply wanted him more than they did. It was the exact opposite in Game 6. So overall, pretty solid series, I would say. And the Pacers, they earned it, man. They're really fucking good.
To be fair to the Knicks now, where I get those subtlenesses, is I've never seen anyone in the history of basketball go without even leaking out to get a layup more than Siakam. I mean, if the court was running a 40-yard dash, he runs it like 3.1.
Yeah.
It's not even like he's cherry picking either.
He's not
Yeah,
cherry
he just beats you down the floor.
Doesn't look like he's very fast. I mean, you think maybe you talk about like the strides of a Giannis or a Wemby, who are 7 feet. I mean, he's 6'8", but I mean he's lengthy, but I mean it doesn't look like he's even going that fast. But I'll be damned, he's beating everyone down the, not just that, who I could probably beat down the court, but just everybody down the court. It blows my mind. I don't know how he does it. He's 30 years old. I hope we get a couple more years out of him doing it. But Kendall, I know we didn't get a chance to get your predictions on this series. I'm sure you'll tell us the Pacers in 6, was it? But your thoughts on it afterwards now.
Well, I really did have the Pacers in this series. I feel like I did, but I feel like they're just like they're more complete. They're the better team. The better team won the series, and it feels like at its most simplistic, that's all this was. And I agree with Will. I think the transition primarily is just where this series won and lost at. The Knicks simply could not keep them out of transition. Even you could see the times when they were really like they were giving up some like easy defensive rebounds, some stuff they could have went after just to get all 5 back, just to try to do anything to stop it, and they couldn't do it. And they really couldn't stop them in the half court either. They were getting caught on back doors and all that stuff. So, I mean, I think it's just
correct me if I'm wrong. Either one, I didn't mean to cut. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop you. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Bridges and OG, aren't their reputations being defensive guys?
Yeah, a lot of that is
when you have Cat and Jalen Brunson, though, that kind of negates it.
Yeah,
I know their reputation clearly is not defense, obviously.
I mean, literally, the first play of the game last night, they ran the Pacers. Ran a pick and roll with Cat and Brunson hedged, and Cat was kind of standing in no man's land. And they got a wide open layup. So it's just Rick Carlisle.
I think somebody on a reel or Twitter or something did that, and you see the players go up to Carlisle and give him like a high five or something.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. I mean, Carlisle has done a masterful job these playoffs at just out scheming teams, and especially coming off of losses, they are dynamite. Yeah. They are just incredible. So
I've said before, I think coaching is the least important in the NBA amongst all major sports, but it does have an impact, especially when the teams you get this late in the playoffs, and you're not dealing with much of a difference in talent. Right? I mean, in terms of the level of talent between the two teams, New York especially. Go to the West. We'll start with you, Kendall. Again, I'm sure you'll tell me it was OKC in 5. It was your prediction if you'd been on here, but that's okay. It's what it was. Minnesota knocked off your Warriors in the second round. I won't let you dredge on that, but your thoughts on the way OKC handled Minnesota, I would say almost with relative ease.
Yeah. Well, I think you look back and now you kind of realize there were no answers for the Timberwolves to throw back at the Thunder with some of the stuff they were doing. Like they were having to put it in Ant's hands just to get the ball up, just so he can have the ball, and they're blitzing him as soon as he hits half court. They're begging Mike Conley to beat him off the dribble. They're begging Dante DiVincenzo to have hit shots. Neither of those things had anywhere near close to happening. This was just an historically good team with the Thunder, just way better than having every answer for a team like the Wolves. I mean, the T-Wolves have a lot of weaknesses. I really don't think they would have gotten past the Warriors if Stephen Curry was healthy. So
I don't think. I mean, that's a definite what if that's worth debatable. I mean, there's a lot of what ifs in sports, but before we had our redo, brought up the what if. What if the Knicks had won Game 1 of this series, or the series with the Pacers? How that series would have unfolded? Who knows? And say the same thing about the Cavs. And
you can. Yeah, I was gonna say you can even say Game 2,
Game 3, whatever. I mean. Yeah, you can say it about it's the fun of sports, though, is the what ifs and hypotheticals, and that is definitely one is to be dwelled on, especially with them winning the game despite him going out. Them still winning the game. But I tell you the one thing before we get into looking at the OKC and Indiana matchup, which I don't know, maybe you can call me a homer for the way I predict it and I look at it, but I think it's a lot closer than a lot of people may think it is. But one thing I learned from these finals, the big difference to me, was the Knicks would not just roll over and die. I mean, they were just. I compared it on Twitter to the very few people that follow me. I might as well just send out a text message group. Is that they're like the cow and me, myself, and Irene. I don't know if you young guys have seen the movie. We're just unloading a clip into this thing. We're kicking it. We're punching it. We're gargling. Die. Gargling. The damn thing will fucking die. And that's what the Knicks were doing. I mean, finally, in the third quarter, we finally got him to like. It took Toppin, who has to get a hard on when he hits a basket against New York every time. Is going off in the third quarter on him. They finally just give up, and Tibbs, wipes away the overcast and taps out with 2 minutes. But on the other hand, you have, I guess I understand they won their one game by 42 points or whatever in game 3 in Minnesota. But on the other hand, you have a Minnesota team that, here's a reference that hopefully maybe somebody will get that probably won't. They're coming out like Peter McNeely against Mike Tyson in his first fight out of jail, just like, and then just get punched and they just go down like a sack of potatoes, like Cat when he's driving to the hole. And there's no, I mean, I get OKC, I get the defense is good and yada yada, but I mean, if the Pacers would have won in 5, if that's the kind of fight we got from them, and then when I see Anthony Edwards, and this is my old man boomer version of the day, when I see Anthony Edwards after the game, I know he's upset, and because he is down on it. But when you give me the response of, it not bother me in so many ways because I'm 23, we'll get back here. That's the answer of somebody I don't think is going to ever lead a team to a championship. I mean, it was, and OKC's defense is great, but there was many times where Finch just looked lost as a coach. How many times did you see Anthony Edwards just dribbling the ball and just allowing the defense to swarm him? You got guys like Randall wide open. I mean, how can you not miss the dude?
So I will say this, and you can finish your thought though real quick.
That wasn't really a thought. It was more of a downhill rant, and once it gets going, the boulder gets going, it gets uglier and uglier. But that's pretty much. Am I alone? I mean, am I reading too much into maybe?
No, and you made a great point that I wanted to talk about is that the Timberwolves lost the conference finals the same way 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that they let one guy beat them 2 years in a row. Last year, the Mavericks had pretty good role players outside of Luka and Kyrie. But Luka shit on them every single game out. They would refuse to play him differently than they already had, which was switch everything and have Rudy Gobert be on an island on the perimeter, which is the dumbest coaching mistake I've ever made. And I thought they had rectified that in the Lakers series this year because Gobert only played about 25 minutes a game in that series. But what happened in this Thunder series is that they had Jaden McDaniels guarding him, which is perfectly fine. That's the best defender you have on your team. It makes good sense.
I like Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah, he's a good defender. But the Thunder, every single play that Shea had the ball, they would set a pick and roll to get a good matchup on him. Whether that was Gobert, whether that was Naz Reid, whether it was even a guard, whether like Russo would come and set the screen. Typically it was Hardenstein. But the point is that they weren't setting those picks to match up hunt. They were setting those picks to get Shea going to the rim and be in the mid-range area. And the Timberwolves didn't adjust to it at all, except for the one game they won. Game 3, they blitzed the hell out of him on pick and rolls and made anybody but Shea beat them. And guess what? Shea shot 4 for 13 from the field, and the Thunder got blasted by 42. No team has ever won the finals or ever won a championship in NBA history while losing by 40 or more points in the playoffs ever. So if they do win the finals, that'll be the biggest loss by an NBA champion in history. The Timberwolves gave themselves a blueprint to at least give themselves a chance, and they went away from it the rest of the series.
I believe your stat, but I'd love to. You can look it up for me if you're quicker on it. Plus, I only got one hand right now. The Pacers' last final appearance in Game 5 of that series against Lakers, I believe they beat the Lakers by like 30-something points in that game.
I think the most the team has ever lost a game in the playoffs to still win the championship was 38. I don't remember which team it was, but I do remember.
It might have been us.
It could have been.
We took them out of the woodshed in that Game 5 because it was pretty much our farewell. At the time, it was 2-3-2 in the series. I don't remember when they switched it, but you guys remember that. And the Pacers had lost down 3-1 in an overtime, very tough overtime game where Shaq fouled out. And this is where my Kobe hate begins because he took over the game in overtime. We took him out. Smith was dominating in that game. And but Kobe took over in overtime, and they won the game. Took a 3-1 lead. We just took game 5. We just took them like behind the barn.
Yeah, that could have been it. Okay. But that was basically the series. I mean, the Timberwolves is as great as the Thunder's defense is. The Timberwolves got so many open looks from 3, and for a team that is very hot and cold, the only game that they were hot was the game that they won. They shot decently in other games in the series, but they couldn't hit their threes. Anthony Edwards was not aggressive. I think the most shots he took in the series was 26, and that's not good enough for him. He had multiple games of less than 15 shots. You can't have that. So Ant wasn't as aggressive, and they couldn't stop Shea because they refused to guard him any differently than they had the entire series. Outside of the one game they won, it infuriated me to watch, but they gave the Pacers a blueprint to give the Pacers a chance to win the series. I'm not saying they will, but I'm saying the Pacers will have a chance.
Well, I hope you're right. Kendall, your thoughts on Anthony Davis? He'd probably about to have, I got to trust him being the main guy too. But the Edwards, the nonchalant. I mean, you guys are the same age. I mean, I hate to be the one I know I heard it from when I was your age, from me being the old man, but like those were shut quick. I mean, I've been a Pacers fan for 35 years, and my best memories are like just basically 2-3 year gaps in between 10-year lulls. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, it's been a franchise lull pretty much. But last 2 back-to-back. Do you think I'm wrong in saying? I mean, if you hear your guy, your leader, kind of saying, "Yeah, we'll be back. I don't care. I'm 23." I mean, because this team's not going to be there. They're losing some guys off this roster from free agents.
Yeah, well, I see your point, and to one of those, Nas Reed is almost assuredly not going to be on this roster next year. And he didn't play great this last series. Last year against the Nuggets, he was maybe their 3rd best player in that series. So that'll be a big thing. I mean, they're gonna have to look at what they want to do with Julius Randle, because Julius Randle can opt out and demand they max him out. Yeah, I mean, this team, they've got some very hard decisions to make this offseason to get under the tax apron and that kind of stuff.
And I believe that Cale Alexander-Walker might be a free agent as
well.
Yeah. Wrong, but I think he is.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, and I think I think the idea is more likely than not, Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Nas Reed are like almost assuredly going to be playing elsewhere next year.
I mean, I don't want to label because he's 23 but I don't know. I feel like I don't want to compare him to the specific player right on the tip of my tongue, because while they're both explosive offensively, they are 2 different points of their career, 2 different guys. But I think Kevin Durant, and I think what Charles Barkley said, some people are bus riders, and that's kind of where Durant was the guy that you could clearly, on a championship team, was the best player with it, and you can argue with Curry better. Was the best player on a Warriors team that had Curry, Thompson, Green, yada yada. Yeah, he wasn't going to lead that team to a title. He needed to be the guy to step back and let Curry be the leader. He was always and still can be the best player on a court.
He was the best player, but he wasn't the most important player.
Yeah, and he can't be a leader. He just can't be it. I know he may get pissed, and when Barkley said it about him, Edwards can be pissed. I said it about him if he ever got word about it. I don't care. I hope he's pissed because it means he heard us say it.
And I think, to your point, to some extent, the biggest thing I think it was game 1 when towards the end, the game was out of reach, Thunder were up about 14, dribbling it out, and Jaden McDaniels just shoved Shea in frustration to the floor. And I think that, to the point, is this team is just not a very mentally tough. It seemed like every time they took a heavy punch, like their legs just came out from under them. And I think, you see Ant's the heart and soul of this team, and I think it's funny to, you see him with his bravado, and you look back, this team they're not very resilient when they need to be. And so, to your point, I get that.
And honestly, I believe that's probably what I mean to say, but I like what you said about the not mentally there, because I mean, you can still argue me wrong, but I still think, like, on paper, I don't know, I guess on paper is on 2K, the Warriors are still a more talented team than the OKC. Honestly, I do. Like, individually down the line, I think they are more. I think they have more talent, but OKC is a better team. I can't do double air quotes because of my elbow, but I think they're a better team. And you saw that, and they're more, as Kendall just said, they're more mentally prepared and we're mentally ready for this.
The only 2 times that I think Timberwolves have shown the resilience necessary to be a championship team is Game 7 last year against the Nuggets, because down 20 on the road in Game 7, you can lay down, just like the Clippers did. And just like the Nuggets did this year against the Thunder, but they came back and took it from them. And Game 4, which they lost at home to the Thunder by 2, but I mean, they were going shot for shot with them the entire night. They couldn't stop them at all. But they got down by double digits multiple times, brought it right back multiple times. They just couldn't close it out because the Thunder are just a better team than them. But I agree that ultimately, I don't think that the Timberwolves are going to. Oh, I think Roman's here. I don't know what happened to KJ though. But we got.
Sorry, hold on, my bad. Just trying to pull up a stat.
There's Kendall. He's back with Roman kind of bouncing.
No, he left. I don't know. Something must be going on. But yeah, I mean, the Thunder are just better than the T-Wolves. The T-Wolves could be back, but KJ makes
they did show a little bit of chin. They didn't go full glass Joe in Game 4. You're right.
Game 5 was rough. I mean, they
didn't even try. I mean, the Knicks could have done that. I wish the Knicks would. I would have enjoyed Game 6 a lot more if they'd done that for 4 quarters. I mean, that's fun to watch when it's your team. I mean, trust me, it happened. 95 Game 7 against Orlando in Eastern Conference Finals. That was a blowout from start to finish, and it was not fun to watch.
Yep, Randall hit that first 3 to go up 3-0, and from then it was just they bent over and took it. And that's the long and short of it, honestly. So
I don't know how to segue that exactly, but I'll try my best as by saying, okay, then let's look at this finals matchup real quick. Will, I'll let you start. I guess start with you. Any, meeny, miny, mo. We'll go to you. What do you like in it? What do you like in this matchup? And who do you kind of like leaning towards? You're gonna give me a full prediction, but maybe where you're leaning right now.
I already have a prediction in mind. I don't want to talk too long about this because I have a lot of thoughts on it. And I don't want to ramble, so I'm going to try to make it as succinct as possible.
Yeah, we don't like rambles on here, do we?
So on the Thunder side, it's pretty simple. It's allow Shea to be your floor general, whether that be as a scorer or a facilitator. Play exactly how you have the entire playoffs. Play suffocating defense. Shea can be the little foul baiting bitch he wants to be all the time. He's going to get his calls. Hopefully he does in the finals, but I mean, I'm expecting him to average 15 free throws a game in the finals, and that's how it is. That's how it is. That's the way that they have an advantage against teams.
Yeah.
It won't be as much of an advantage against the Pacers since they have such depth. On the Pacers side, outside of just X's and O's, Nesmith needs to be healthy for them to have a chance. Hopefully, Jarris Walker's healthy. I don't know what his injury is, but it didn't look good.
At least the first 2 games he will be out.
Okay. So that's not great, but I mean, it is what it is. Bradley's hurt,
when a guy like Cat size falls on you, you're lucky you ever walk again.
Yeah, I thought he tore his ACL on first look, but yeah, for the Pacers to win, they have to play extremely fast, as they always have been. That is probably their only advantage. They're not going to be able to wear down the Thunder because the Thunder are just as deep, if not deeper than they are. Rick Carlisle's going to have to cook up. Halliburton's going to have to be aggressive every game, and they're going to have to blitz Shea. And one good adjustment they made on Brunson to make him uncomfortable was to pick him up full court the entire series. I mean, it wore him down, and it took time away from them being able to run their offense, and a lot of their offense is Brunson just dribbling around anyways. So if they can make Shea uncomfortable and force guys like Caruso, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, who we don't know if he's going to be up to the task in the finals, to produce at a high level, that's their one chance. I'm going to say Thunder in 7. I do think the Pacers are going to really give them a run for their money. I think it's going to be a great series. If the Thunder can contain the fast break much better than the Knicks did, Pacers have no damn shot. No way.
Before I go to you, I would like to point out that, with the exception of last year in second round against the Knicks in Madison Square, the Pacers in Game 7 on the road throughout history in playoff series is not very good. I know firsthand. What do you about? When you look at this series, what get you excited? What makes you go 6 to midnight?
I mean, I think the fact that these are two very talented and similar teams. I mean, they both play fast. They both want to turn you over. They both will play defense for 94 feet. I think that's the most interesting thing. It really is a similar styles, but you have such different guys running the show in the way Halliburton approaches the game versus Shea. So I think that's the most interesting thing to me. But I do think it is kind of a matter to me where, okay, the Pacers can dominate in transition. I think the Thunder are better in transition. I think the Thunder have the better defenders. I think it's all these things by slim margins, but I do think the Thunder are better at the things both these teams are good at.
The only
So
thing the Pacers have a true advantage in is 3-point shooting across the board. That's about it.
yeah. And I think your point to I think it will get really interesting if they press Shea for 94 feet, which they will do and can do. We really don't know much about if OKC has the steady secondary creator because nobody's ever asked them to showcase it. And I think this will be an interesting time. Another team goes on the offensive, so to speak, tactically against OKC. Because I think so many teams get caught up in fuck, how are we gonna deal with this length, this speed, all this stuff coming at us? You don't really talk about this team's weaknesses. And they don't really have any. But if you're asking Jalen Williams to bring the ball up, half the game, we don't know how that'll go. That could go really bad. So
And I assume you guys are referring to Jalen Williams with LEN, not the one with the big.
hell, yeah.
Yeah, that dude needs to get his hair pulled over, man. Ugh, it's not looking good. Yeah, I tell you what, the two things that stick out to me is one, I think depth, the continuous talk of depth of these teams, I think is being old school is still a little overrated in this point. This series, I know it makes an impact in a way, but in the finals and then when it comes down to it, to me, it's still the star players stepping up. And with Siakam, when you got the Pacers, you got two star players. You have Siakam and you have Halliburton. And in OKC's, SGA obviously is your one, and I can assume Jalen Williams, non-forehead version, is going to be the other two. Is your second. So it's about, to me, it's which star is going to step up the most, and that worries me because, as Will has heard me, rant before, Halliburton's just passiveness can sometimes be aggravating to me. Yeah, you talk about having a bad game in Game 3 against the Timberwolves. He had 14 shots still. That's I don't care if he's 1 of 14. John Starks went 1 of 18 at one point. Kobe went 1 of 19, I think, at one point in a finals game. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, at least I'd be happier with that than 1 of 4. But I'll say that right on the side of another one. That's what worries me the most in this series is the games where Halliburton disappears, and even if it's for one game, all it takes to lose a series, especially against a team that is still good like OKC. And then on top of that, let's be honest, you know how I feel about sometimes Miles Turner. I love him. I hate him. It's an abusive relationship. His name is Turner is perfect because I'm Tina and he's Ike. I mean, that's what it is. That's how it is with our relationship with him being a Pacer.
The last thing I want to say on the series is that the reason the Timberwolves got so many open threes, and I couldn't believe that the Thunder stuck to their guns on this because the Timberwolves are supposed to be a good shooting team, is they play no middle defense with 2 bigs. So they basically don't allow you to get into the paint at the expense of giving open or leaving open a lot of shooters. If they do that against the Pacers, they will be in trouble because, A, the Pacers have proven they can just light you up from 3. And 2, if you run a double big lineup, they're going to abuse you on the fast break because even so, they run so fast, they're still able to rebound at a pretty high level unless there's Mitchell Robinson on the floor. So they have the advantage of shooting. I think if the Thunder stick with the double big lineup with Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren and it doesn't go well, I'd be curious to see if Mark Daigneault makes that adjustment or not. That's one thing that they should take.
Wrong, but Hartenstein, I think, played well in the series in the Yankees, in the Knicks series last year against the Pacers, I believe.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to think. They didn't have Karl-Anthony Towns that year, so it was a little.
No, well, and they didn't have Randall because he was out, but Hartenstein played in that series against.
Yeah, but they didn't run a double big lineup, and still they lost anyways. But the point is that if you watch the Thunder, I mean, basically every defender they have, except for the guy guarding the ball, is within the perimeter. So they are forcing everybody. They're daring them to shoot threes. It's like, if you want to come into the paint and drive to the rim, we're going to foul the shit out of you, or we're going to block your shot. And that's how they play defense. They do it at such a high level. And I'm just curious to see how the chips fall in the series. But ultimately, it's Thunder in 7.
For those that are just wondering, that are staring at Will's shoe collection, the television on the background behind him is the College Baseball World Series game. I'll let either one of you give an update right now.
5-1 Miami. Let's go.
Miami. So
top of the 6th. There's 2 outs, but they got 2 on base right now. So
if you don't know, you're an idiot. But if you do know, like we're going to tell you anyway, and we love you. Don't worry about being an idiot. We're all stupid in our own way. I've proven that many times already in the show. That if Miami beats Southern Miss, and hopefully they do, because Southern Miss sucks in everything, Louisville will host their super regional. The Cardinal 9 will, who have already advanced. They don't have to play today because we made Vanderbilt our bitch and then beat Wright State like a stepchild. So yeah, we're already as they're waiting. We now hopefully do not have to travel to Hattiesburg, which is said by every human being every day of their life, even the ones who live there. I've been there. I can say that. Guys, speaking of the Cardinals, Cardinal 9 looking like they may be hosting. Louisville has been hosting a international world fair, it seems like, with Coach Kelsey. Will, I'm going to let you take the head on this one. We have now, last time we did the show, we had
Muhammad Kamara.
I was trying to, I knew it. I watched another film on him. You know, he reminds me a little bit of Jerome Kersey. Look it up. That's what he kind of reminds me of, which is a big compliment coming from me. I love Jerome Kersey. But now, since then, Louisville's gone again. Now they're traveling around the world like Carmen Sandiego. And now they've gone to Greece. And they've got not the big fat Greek wedding, but they got, well, not too fat either, but a big dude, big Greek guy. Tell us about the what we're opawing about.
So it's Vangelis Zugris.
Vangelis Zubris.
Zugris.
Zugris. Sucrates.
Just call him Zoo, honestly. Just call him Zoo. But trust me.
Sucrates.
So he's an undersized big. He's 6'8", 250, but he has the motor of Montrezl Harrell, honestly. That's when you watch his film. I mean, all he does is hustle. He's not extremely skilled. I mean, he's got a pretty good touch around the paint, but he's not a shooter. He can play defense, honestly. He can play pretty solid defense, 1 through 5. He's great at setting screens. He may be the best screener on the team next season just because of how physical he is and just his frame. I mean, he is 250 pounds of pure muscle. And the dude goes on the court and he acts like it's his last game, like Allen Iverson said. I mean, he plays like it's his last. He's dying on the court every second he's out there. So I think he'll be a fan favorite for that reason. I don't expect him to play heavy minutes. I do think he'll be a contributor. But I think even if Khalifa comes back, I think Sananda Farouk will probably end up as a starting big man. If Khalifa's back, he'll be the backup big. And we'll play Kamara, Zubris kind of when we need them. But I do think the pecking order would be Farouk, Khalifa, Zubris, and Kamara in that order. But
again, it's one hell of a lot of game.
Yeah, he's got great intangibles. And I think if he's able to be here for a few years, we're going to love him, especially if he develops.
Kim, have you had a chance to watch anything on the Big Zoo yourself? Or
Yeah, and I agree with Will. The first thing that you immediately know. Well, I know my dad compared him to Montrezl Harrell, which is funny that you say that. But the first thing you notice really is that just insatiable, like workhorse energy that it really is absurd. It pops right off the screen, and a guy like that is because I agree with Will. He's probably gonna. I mean, perfect world we get Khalifa back. I think he is probably the third big off the bench. He give you 10, 12 minutes, but a guy like that never hurts your team. It never hurts you when he's out there. Things happen. He's fighting for the ball. He makes the other team sweat. They expend energy. A guy like this is always a welcome addition. So I'm happy about it. And I think it's a really good effort. I would give it an A, given how late you are into the transfer portal. I think it's a great find.
And you know what they say? Every championship team needs an enforcer. He will be that.
Oh yeah.
Be that for us next season.
Yeah, he will be that. That's you know exactly what role he's going to fill, and that is comforting as well.
Well, speaking of the basketball team, also, I guess this week since we've been on, Will, your first time, so it doesn't count for you, but that's okay. Is the schedule not officially announced, but we at least now know like who we play home and away, who we play and twice in the season, who our rival is now, which was nice to learn, I guess. Any thoughts? Right, I'll start with you. I guess this time I don't know if you had a chance to in front of you or look at it right now. But right off the bat, I guess, being the fact that our second double home and away is Duke. You excited about that, or would you rather just play them once?
I'm excited about it, given what just happened to us when we got the 8 seed this last tournament. I'm not gonna turn my nose up at any, resume boosting games probably for the next 3 or 4 years, just given the PTSD that comes with it. But I do think the ACC will be better going forward. So I don't think it'll be as bad ever again as it was last year. Because I think you got NC State coming. I think Virginia hired a really good coach, Ryan Odom. But I'm not scared of Duke. I mean, we have a really good team. Bring them on. Fuck it, let's play. I'll play them twice.
That's the kind of attitude I like to hear. I wish the last kid I knew was had a fucking attitude. Will, I don't know if you have it in front of you. You maybe do, but obviously, as I mentioned, Duke is the twice. SMU, apparently, we now hate them. So everybody, all at once, 3, 2, 1, fuck SMU. 3, 2, 1, fuck SMU.
Fuck SMU.
Yeah, take your Pony Express and shove it. Also, I guess the home games, we get Boston College, which will probably be on Tuesday at 9 o'clock, because it always is. Georgia Tech, which will be on the CW, because it always is. NC State, which will probably be on a Saturday afternoon. Notre Dame will go 8 overtimes. Syracuse at home is always nice. Virginia, I guess, not playing them twice is nice. And Bob taking home. But on the road, and this is my favorite part. The only thing I like about the road schedule part is because I get to stay up at 3 in the morning and watch it and have a reason of being up. We go to Cal and we go to Stanford. We go to Cal only. I'm sorry.
Then we go to Stanford as well.
Oh, okay. My eyes are. Oh, I see it there. It's a tree. That was a dildo. Wake Forest, Stanford, Pitt, North Carolina, Miami, and Clemson all on the road. Would you want to flip any of these?
Yeah, for sure. So
right off the bat, who do you see that you were like, man, I'd rather go? I don't want to go there. I want them to come, vice versa. And who would you give up to do the flip?
In the top 3 order, it would be Clemson, North Carolina, and Miami. Clemson, we've never won at Clemson at Little John Coliseum. It's a death trap.
Yeah.
Even if they're not going to be as good as they have been next year, it's still a really tough place to play. I mean, at home, Boston College is going to suck. Georgia Tech is going to suck. Notre Dame is probably going to suck. Syracuse is going to suck. And Virginia Tech is going to suck. So that leaves you with SMU, who may be a bubble team, Duke, who's really good, and NC State, who is looking to be pretty good next season. So we're going to have 3 pretty tough home matchups in the ACC. And Clemson, Miami, North Carolina, Pitt, and Wake Forest, those 5 teams are all hoping to make the tournament next season. We got to play all of them on the road. So I would like to flip Boston College, Syracuse, and Virginia Tech with, say, the top 3 that I mentioned, Clemson, North Carolina, and Miami, just because those are 3 places that I feel we can beat them handily no matter where we play them. But yeah, I mean, it kind of just is what it is. The ACC,
don't road wins, aren't they more important in the whole computer?
They are, and that's your other argument. But then it's like you have to be almost perfect at home against the bad teams that you play. Otherwise, you're going to have a really bad loss on your resume. So, I mean, SMU and Duke on the road, those are quad 1 games off the bat. Clemson, North Carolina, and Miami and Wake Forest will probably all end up being quad 1 road games. So we'll have a lot better of a resume, or a lot more resume opportunities next season than we did last year. But it's an odd schedule, honestly. I'd like to see how it actually looks when it's chronologically timed out. But
Kendall, what are your thoughts so far just on this? Just a quick, I know we don't have any idea on too much, but what are your thoughts on this past fall season with Pat Kelsey and how he's rebuilt this team already?
Well, just in general, I think it's been a great job. I mean, I honestly, we talked about this when me and Will were on Spears on Sports about a month ago. I'm really not the biggest James Scott fan. I mean, he did great things for us. Don't get me wrong, but I think we could have upgraded that position. We didn't, but either here nor there. So I wasn't really mad at any losses. I liked every addition. I mean, you went out; it was bang bang. You got Conwell. You got, McNeely. I mean, they put this thing together pretty fast, and I mean, I think we're going to be very, very good next year. If we had, let's say, below all ACC level big, I think that's the only thing you can point at this team and say you want help in the front court, which I do. But I mean, I don't see us having any trouble scoring. We're big. We have big, tall guards. I mean, they can drive it. Everybody can pass. If you get Khalifa back, assuming you do, I mean, you have passing from all 5 positions in this scheme, in this offense of Pat Kelsey's that is designed to get you open shots. I mean, I would give it an A. Yeah, I really don't have any notes.
Sorry to do the camera thing on you guys in the middle of the show. My elbow is throbbing right now, so I'm trying to sit back and trying to get it to stop hurting a little bit here. go through a little pain. Well, any other thoughts on the schedule stick out that maybe Kendall just said?
No, I mean, I think the schedule is what it is. I think the non-con is going to be more of a factor than the conference schedule will be. In terms of the offseason, I agree with KJ. I mean, I think the hope is that Frew can be that all ACC level big. We don't know if he's going to be yet, but based on how the staff perceives him and the stuff I've seen about him, I definitely think there's a chance of that. But
because sometimes I've got that old school mentality. I don't try to say it too much, but I do say it way too much. Am I wrong? I think I said this in our text thread, Will, but I'm not trying to be the Debbie Downer, Harry the hater, or what you kids call, I guess, I don't know, a Karen or whatever, a boomer. But when I see the European guy is European coming over and is 20 years old, I know that the kid from South Africa, I think he's only like 18, so that's a different story. But in the case of the Greek kid, is 20 years old. I can't help think to myself, well, why is he not just going pro? I mean, if he's good, and I get when anytime a team signs somebody, especially with a mystery behind him, things can get a little wild in terms of the speculation. And I did see the little highlight reel that you guys have seen and some others have seen that he looks like, I can see where the I was comparing him to Kurt Rambis, but again, I come from old school. We do white on white comparisons for some reason, unconsciously, still. But like, I don't know. I mean, is this something I should be worried about, or should I just take it out and suck it?
No, God damn it. For two reasons, you should not be worried. One,
Blair Witch
this. Yeah, we got the big man on campus here. I don't know. It looks like he's in Dracula's lair right now, but he's in.
Yo. What's up, fella?
You can see your girlfriend smack you into bed. Seriously, are you in a movie theater? Come on, man. Black people got a bad enough reputation. Don't do that. Don't be doing a podcast in there.
All right.
But,
okay, there you are. Why was the lights out?
He was just, messing around with the aesthetic a little bit.
That was weird and creepy, man.
He wanted to come in with the bang. But with the way the college basketball... Oh, what? You're good. What's up?
Going on?
Yeah, what's
Sorry,
up, bro?
late. Where are we at in the outline? Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to...
Well, no. Trevor was just asking me if we should be worried about the older European big man that we're getting in to see.
You don't trust Sonny Frew, do you, Trev?
First of all, anyone who says those words out loud should be tested mentally. No one in their right mind should ever trust anyone named Sonny, especially him. Okay, dude. Have 3 words for you: he got game, rent it, learn. Oh man, but don't watch the last scene because it sucked. Read the whole movie. Ball coming out of nowhere. That's stupid. What's Spike Lee thinking?
I think that at this point, fellas, we have to hope that Sonny Frew's everything that everyone is saying he is, right?
Oh, Sonny Frew. I thought you said Sonny Baruch. I thought you meant the agent from Adidas. My bad. Damn it! I can't hardly hear you, let alone see you.
Do I not sound good enough?
I mean, I can hear you. It's a little lower than normal, but I still hear you clearly.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know about Frew. Sorry, Sonny Frew. I didn't mean you. I was talking about Sonny Barico, the agent for, what I'm talking about, Will, don't you?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
They're just, well, we just left for a second. But to answer your question, I mean, college basketball is getting older. There are less successful teams that are dominated by freshmen or even have several freshmen on there that carry the load, unlike the old Duke and UK teams. So you're wanting to have more experienced guys that have pause but filled in bodies to where it's like they have matured and you're not going to find a 6'8", 250 guy like Zugris in the high school rankings right now. It's just not possible.
I'd hope not, because he's 20 years old. That would be probably considered borderline statutory.
But he's not going to go pro. Zugris is not. Frew has a chance, but he still kind of has a little bit of a raw game as well. But at least in terms of his perimeter game. But they're skilled for the college level. They're older and they're bigger than the bigs that we could have gotten besides them. And I think they fit our model because Pat Kelsey wants highly intelligent, athletic players to put on his roster that he knows he can trust to put out there in the game. That's why last season when we went to Florida, we got all the guys who graduated, not just ones that were, Adrian Woolley is only a sophomore now. That's just an example off the top of my head, but we got a little bit younger with this roster compared to the first season because Pat Kelsey knew he was going to need a veteran roster to put his system into place and carry it out. This year, we have more depth, so we have more leeway in terms of having guys that are slower coming around, maybe like Mike Brown or Adrian Woolley. And it's going to be fine. I wouldn't really worry about it. I mean, we have 4 big men now. Hopefully we can trust them. We'll find out. But I think we went about it the right way.
I know. I mean, it's funny. If guys 20 years old talking about being young still, I guess it relatively is. I don't know. I just, and I wasn't talking about Peru for those maybe jumping in later or Roman for that matter. I was mainly referring just to the Greek guy when I was talking about holding back the hype because for most European players that are worth their salt are going to be looked at in the NBA at 18. If you're 20 and you haven't been drafted yet in the NBA, I'm just saying that. I'm not saying he's going to suck. I'm not saying he's going to bring energy. I'm just saying don't put a horse before the cart just too soon. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. We still have to see if they can adjust to this level of play, this pace of play. The physicality shouldn't be an issue. They're both fully grown sized men that have been playing with. Well, Zugris hasn't been playing with the level of comp in a lot of the games I'm seeing with his highlights are not the biggest guys he's going up against, but at the same time he's still he's played a professional form of basketball. So
your thoughts on any of this? Just being dumb.
I mean, no. I mean, I get like your idea in terms of what you're saying, but at the end of the day, I mean, these like Will said, it's just now it's another way to do it. These guys are coming in with a different understanding of the game. They play professionally, and I think it's just it's accepted now, and that's the big thing that's made it kind of seem like maybe a shock. But I think this move straight up is just sometimes like this is a better way to improve your team at the moment. And I think that's exactly what this was. As Will said, you can't go get a guy like this out of high school, but the team needed a guy like this. They need one at the moment. So
yeah, you gotta have guys at the end of your rotation who are like he's not gonna be some high crazy, we're relying on him to come be a vital piece for us, but at the same time, when he has to play, you're not worried about certain aspects of what he's bringing to the floor at all.
You know what you're getting.
250 pounds, 6'8", high understanding of what's going on the court, seems to have a really good kind of a feel for the game for where he's at in his age and how long he's been playing and stuff. So at the same time, though, I'm with you, Trevor. I think that you can't put anything in any basket when it comes to guys who are never played at college basketball. Just like you can't go and immediately rely on a bunch of freshmen. They've never played college basketball. But at the same time, these are just guys that what they do have under their belt is a lot different. It's a lot different than what you're getting out of a freshman. And then their body types, right? Our bench last year, when we used our depth, quote unquote, we didn't have depth. Everybody had to play who was available. There wasn't physicality that was coming in that was being brought in with the guys that weren't our main, Hadley, Chucky, Hepburn, Terrence Edwards. You didn't have to really worry about them. But even James Scott, who was a starter, Kason Pryor, Abubakar, he fought really well at his size against bigger guys, but that was somebody undersized kind of having to go guard bigger guys because of issues. And I get that's because of injury-related things, and God forbid we're not going to have to deal with injuries that bad. When you go to our bench now, you're bringing guys who are strong, athletic, not going to be pushed around, going to be doing the pushing around now. And somebody like Zugris, the guy like Kamara as well, they're super excited about him and what he is as a defender and athletically. And then Frew, if he's dominating over there like that against pros, you just have to hope that he can come over here, quickly adjust to what's being asked in the Pat Kelsey system offensively and defensively, and still be that kind of one of the most athletic guys on the court.
And Roman makes a great point too, Trevor.
Yeah.
Is that the point of bringing in guys like Zubris and Kamara, at least for this season, isn't to have them be guys that we live and die with. You know, they're going to be kind of an extension of the role that, like you said, Traore and Frank Hansel-Mibe played last year, which was guys that you just had to play because that was all you had to do. Differences with these guys is that they're going to come in and we're going to expect production, not hope for production. With guys like Traore, he was a walking turnover, and he took some of the dumbest shots I've ever seen possible. Frank couldn't do anything.
He was a hustler.
He hustled, but now you're going to have
absolutely.
a guy like Zubris who's going to hustle, but he's actually going to do something for you, and he can compete in the paint with other big men. He's not going to be a guy that's 130 pounds soaking wet that is going to be expected to guard Ryan fucking Kalkbrenner. So I think we're going to be in a lot better shape, especially in the front court next season, in terms of guys that you can just throw out there and you're not just saying, please just survive until we can get our starters back.
Yeah.
I think
that's key when you're trying to improve on a roster.
I think can I speak for everyone at least and say that we all agree that up to at least especially this point, regardless, we all have enough trust in Pat Kelsey and built up still and enough from last season that we're going to take his word for what he's putting together, even though we can't really see it too much other than, in a gym and somewhere in Greece.
Right.
100%. 100%. Like a common denominator. I don't know if you guys got to see everything that he's gotten to say about all of the guys that have signed or committed or that have made their way to campus, but like the intensity in which they want to play at their highest effort level possible, wanting to go 100 miles per hour, and then also how all of these guys are like super good people who want to learn as well. He seems to be having a really good understanding of the types of players he likes to bring in, and they've got their understanding of their connections in Europe with the guys that are already on the coaching staff. So I'm going to trust it. They've done well in the transfer portal last year. They did well. I mean, you brought in a 5-star freshman. You brought in some young guys. You retained guys. Every which way that you can view how you should build a roster, because there's no correct way to do it in this day and age. But with what a lot of people say, a balance, right? That's one way in which a lot of people say you should go about it, to try to have every aspect of building a roster. Transfer portal guys, retaining guys, freshman guys, and then guys that are just there because they want to be a part of that culture, walk on kind of whatever, right? He's done all of that, and now not everybody does this, but we're going to add European guys too. We're going to add guys that aren't directly in the college basketball circuit because of the new rules and eligibility and being able to pay players, and we're going to come bring them in, utilize what they are as athletic specimens and convert them into college basketball players. So you have to trust it. You look at what they just did with Rain Smith. That was a guy that we questioned if he was going to be able to get those shots off, get open in the ACC. He just made the most threes in the ACC, right? And then you just went and grabbed the number 2 guy and three-pointers made in the ACC in the transfer portal. So you know that he's on the right track. You trust what we saw last year. I think top to bottom, this roster is better, right? So we just have to trust that top to bottom we're going to be better.
Let me ask you this: with the question marks at the big man, like we've talked about, though, because of the foreign aspect, that there are so many question marks prior coming back. Yes, how important is it to you for Khalifa to get that eligibility reinstated?
It's critical.
I mean, I think it's critical in terms of I think all of us have some pretty big plans in terms of ceiling for this team next year. And if we're to, reach that maximum potential, you need him. And I think, clips I would see, I mean, this was going to be an integral part when he was on the floor, which was going to be a lot. His passing from that high post, from those loads, from those positions. So, I mean, this can work without him. It can, but it'll look a lot different. And so I think it's very important to have him back.
Roman, I think you had something to say.
Yeah, I think that sorry guys, I hate to keep emphasizing the same point, but depth, we had none of it last year. All of the good teams, Elite 8 and on, they were 8 deep in guys that were all pretty much good defenders or doing, extravagant offensive talents typically. And if not, they were a great two-way player in both departments. Yeah. And we had a lot of one-way talent guys, I feel like. Guys that are really just good at one little thing. We're going to try to emphasize that one point, right, in our role, guys. And we didn't have versatility in our lineups and rotations. We didn't. I get that that's because you just lost one of the most versatile players in college basketball in Casey Pryor at the very start of the year. And then you lost your second primary ball handler in Corin Johnson. That obviously changes a lot of how you're going to operate. But with that being said, Pat Kelsey's emphasis in going into this construction of this roster was 2 players you can rely on and trust at every position on the floor. Ali Khalifa, when you lost James Scott, I get that was a quick turnaround of which you know James is on the way out, and then we know we've Sonny and Ali, right? And then boom, Ali's not confirmed to be able to eligible to play immediately yet. So I think with the question marks on Frew, which is I can't answer a question. I can't answer your question with the same point that you're making, but Ali was going to become important because you knew what he was as an offensive threat. You knew what he was as a passer. He was already in your system. He's already been integrated, at least as much as he can be for having not played a game. And you were going to have to do less teaching, right, compared to what you were going to have to do with Sonny Frew, what you're going to have to do with Zugris, obviously, and then you lost James. So he was your next option. And we want to get up and down the court, Trev. We want to shoot a lot of threes. We want to play fast. We want any question marks on Zugris to not even have to be that big of a deal anyway because of the rate in which we're rotating. I don't mean that literally. Like, I'm not saying that if he has question marks, it doesn't matter because he's only going to play whatever. But any problems were going to kind of be negated by the other player in that same position on the team and the skills that they have in which they're both playing and rotating. Ali was going to be critical because in those lineups where you wanted to bring out that slow 5 out on the perimeter, open up that paint so guys like Michael, Isaac McNeely, Conwell, they can cut and become threats off the ball at the basket because of Ali Khalifa's passing ability and him having some big, dumb, goofy center out in the paint because he has to come step up on that 3-point shot, right? So we don't know if Sonny Frew is going to offer that. Sonny Frew might not have that 3-point shot until January, consistently, confidently. You don't know. So I just think that for a team that wants to shoot as many – I mean, you guys know Pat Kelsey wants to shoot the most threes in the country. You know it. He wants to be number 1 in 3 PA per game. And Ali Khalifa was going to make that possible, like very possible at an more efficient way, I think, when you're having a true 5-man who can shoot like he can.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Will.
No, keep going, man.
That was it. I was just going to say, having to wait, it just sucks that we have to wait to know on how long that's going to be a thing. Because now those question marks are more of a factor. Now you have to pinpoint at Sonny. You have to ask about Sonny Frew's question marks more. You have to look at them. You have to literally question them more now.
Yeah.
One thing that we should keep in mind too, whether or not Khalifa gets eligible, is that with the way this roster is built, we are set up to play small ball a good amount as well. With somebody like Kaysen or Kanai at the 5, I highly doubt it'd be Kanai. It'd probably be Kaysen, but you get the point. And you could have lineups like Michael Brown, Ryan Conwell, McNeely, or Woolley, Javon Hadley, Kanai Roos, Kaysen Pryor. We have so many guys that are interchangeable 1 through 4 in terms of how we want to play that maybe not having Khalifa or having him may not make too much of a difference in the greater scheme. I think having Khalifa, if we want to be a championship level team, is probably necessary just because he gives you such a unique aspect to your roster that most teams won't have. But just traditionally speaking, if you don't have him, I still think that we'll be fine just because we should have a reliable big man in the paint. We'll have a couple other guys behind him that can play spot minutes. But if worse comes to worse, we have small ball lineups that we can just match up hunt teams and absolutely shred them from 3 and the paint because everybody that's going to be on the court can shoot and drive to the paint. So we are going to be a matchup problem next year, whether it's pounding guys in the paint with Frew, having a big man that can run the floor and shoot threes in Kaysen Pryor if you want to play him at center in a small ball lineup, or Khalifa, have him be a point forward and basically be Nikola Jokic for us. So there's a lot of different ways that we can attack teams. And one way that it reminds me of our 2013 championship team, not in terms of the roster makeup, but the way that we could beat teams in multiple different ways. Like we had counters to teams' counters. That's how you had to win a championship. It's like if your A game isn't on, you got to go to option B, and you have to be able to win with that. And
that's a great point. Yeah, that's a great point.
Before y'all get going, I got to apologize. I'm about to hand this off to Roman. I'll explain to you later, Roman. You guys know I can't take that. I got to go lay down or something. I'm over here just
Yeah, you look like you were going through it, Trev. Go get right.
I'll fill you in later about the elbow issue, but it's I can't tell. I'm over about to. I've got to close my eyes. I'm hurting a little bit too much. So I hate to do this, guys. I'm gonna have to Anthony Edwards out on you.
No worries.
And take the baton, finish it with me, and guys, I will see you on Monday next week in a sling or not. So,
Should be we'll get an NBA episode out before Monday, hopefully.
I'll be there. All right.
Take it easy, brother.
See you, Trev.
See you, Trevor. Feel
Get
better.
right, bro.
I mean,
Sorry.
KJ, did you get your thoughts in on that?
No, yeah, I was gonna say I agree with that. I think people forget the first form of the team last year was Kayshawn with the defensive responsibilities of the center. Like he was our center in the tradition. So they really, if they wanted to, like lie to us or whatever, they could have came and said our plan is for Kayshawn to be our starting center, regardless of what happens with Khalifa. You know, so we do have options at center. Quite a few now. So
if Sonny is the thing, here's my thing, Will. Here's why I wanted to make this point to kind of ease Trev at the same time. But if our best five, like, is Ali Khalifa in our best 6 players? And I get we're going to be one of those teams that we're going to utilize player 7 and player 8 more than most teams, but I don't think he's in our best 5 players, right? I think if Sonny proves what he said, if Sonny proves what Pat Kelsey and the coaching staff say he is, and if not only that, if the way he's playing over there in the Bundesliga Basketball League translate over to the ACC, he's immediately going to be a top 5 big in the ACC. If that translates, right? And I think that makes him guaranteed starter, because if that means he's our best big because of what he's also doing on the defensive end. I think Javon Hadley, the experience, the composure, the lack of like anything going on in his head where he thinks he needs to be anything that he's not, kind of like you don't have to worry about him and his understanding of what he is out there at all, right? Because he's experienced, because he knows where he is in his basketball career. That makes him even more of a he just is he's the perfect leader. But with that being said, he can guard most 1 through 4, 2 through 4 easily, right? He has to be out there. He's one of your 5.
Yeah, he's got to start, in my opinion.
And then then there's your guards, Michael, Isaac, and I just think that with the guys that are going to be playing the heavy minutes for us, and we are going to be heavy minutes for our player who plays the most minutes per game is not going to be. That's going to be 2 or 3, 4 minutes less than most teams' highest minute per game guy. Right?
Yeah,
we're gonna run. We're gonna get up and down. We're gonna be able to play a lot more freely, which is going to lead to certain guys getting hot and playing longer than usual. Certain guys foul trouble. Right? We're going to defend more aggressively because we're going to try to cheat, get deflections, force transition buckets, all of those things, which you can do when you have more of a deep bench. And experience in your backcourt like we've got outside of Michael. I still just think that while Ali does, because I fully agree that when you want to be a championship team, everyone you bring off the bench and utilize heavily has to be someone that's offering
something to the table that you can expose.
Ideally, in your front court, versatility. Like you want either a big bruiser who can do it all for you, that's a starter on both ends of the floor on the interior, right? And then maybe a stretch who can come in and completely change the way you play, right? And that's your backup big. Or it's the other way around. You've got a really high skill level stretch and you bring in a less skilled, huge, massive bruiser. That's usually how a lot of these college teams are set up, right? And us having one that's going to be an offensive kind of a guru at the 5 who can ball handle, shoot in the mid range, shoot from the 3-point line all over the court, and pass out of the high post like one of the best passers in college basketball. Teams don't have that. That was going to elevate you to a kind of a different realm if you've got a player like that out there playing 18, 19 minutes a game, especially with the skill that we've got in the backcourt and the speed we've got in the backcourt. That's one thing that isn't getting talked about a lot. The amount of buckets that our guards are going to catch that are assists, not even from Ali, from anybody, like from Javon, from Kanai, right? From each other,
Rogers,
of course,
like you said, who could be our most underrated piece next season.
I think he's going to be. I think he's the second best passing guard on the team. I think he might in some experience, like to a degree, he's number one because he's done it at the college level. Michael hasn't, right? I
Yeah.
think there's like some levels of passes that Michael hasn't had to make at this level yet that it's going to take him a minute to get. But Kobe's right there because Kobe's made him. He hasn't made him in the ACC yet, obviously, but we saw what he did at Charleston, especially what he did in their tournament at the end of the year, his last year playing before his red shirt. He was insane for them in the tournament. Probably their most important guard, if not like him and Rain, equally important, basically. But yeah, outside of that, though, I just think that when you have that many, like those many guys, you're so not relying upon any one specific aspect of how you're playing. It gives you more of a chance to ease those question marks that you're going to have with anybody, but especially your front court. And like you said, Will, we're going to negate that, play faster, play small, shoot more. You know,
We'll have a lot of different play
if
styles.
your front court isn't what he wants you to be, isn't what you want it to be, you have ways to get around that, especially at the beginning of the year, as it takes time to get there. Because Casey Pryor's D might not be 100% when it's time to go to, play in our non-conference. So it's just gonna take time regardless. That's also one thing that's one of my biggest worries is that it's gonna take time. If everyone was healthy, no circumstance, like Allie fully eligible, Sonny here, Zugris here, everybody ready to go, Kaysen fully healthy. It still was going to take time, right? But with the certain question marks and Allie, how long it's going to take for him to be able to play if it's not at the start. Sonny, I mean, he's signed, right? He's officially here. He's officially on the roster.
Yeah, today.
As of today. Still going to take time. He's only going to have practice against our guys until it really is.
I think the first day that we had a summer practice too was yesterday, right? That was the first day of summer session.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they released
the picks came out and
with
everything.
stuff.
So hopefully we've got a cool, we've got some things lined up for these guys to get out there as soon as possible and let us watch them. Exhibition things, anything like that, or like a scrimmage, like that we can see them play in against each other as soon as possible. I can't wait for that first team scrimmage. But fellas, I think it's coming together. I think the more I read and hear about Sonny Frew and the confidence that people who are in the know have on him, it seems like he's legit.
Yeah. And the way this staff talks about this team in general and the amount of trust we have in this staff, it's like, how can you not just be excited and not just be thrilled with it?
Facts. Will, just give me a quick rundown. Sorry I was late to joining up, fellas. Had a long evening here.
Hey, good.
Did you guys just cover all? Has it all been U of L? We get into
no. So besides just like the intro talk about how we're doing, we talked about Knicks Pacers, Knicks Timberwolves, or Thunder Timberwolves, and now the upcoming finals. What our expectations are, whatnot.
Cool.
And we talked about U of L's home and away schedule. And then we got into roster talk when you showed up. I think that was it, right, KJ?
Yeah. We did we kind of branched off the Minnesota Thunder series. We did talk about Anthony Edwards for maybe 4 or 5 minutes, but other than that, it was a lot of wholesale talk. Yeah,
for sure. So
cool.
Kind of broad stroke stuff.
Pretty much. That's you guys covered a wide variety. That's what the Real Spill Live show's for. KJ, thank you so much for kind of filling in for me today.
Of course, man.
I mean, it's not. I want you to be a part of the Real Spill Live show going forward, not just filling in, but
appreciate the invitation.
Being a part of it on such short notice like that. Really appreciate that. Shout out to Trevor for starting the host. Will, look like you guys were kind of piggybacking the hosting a little bit, so appreciate you guys. What else, fellas? I mean, you guys know I don't like to. You guys have gone an hour. I don't like to upload things much longer than an hour. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on before we get into a wrap up? I didn't mean to join up and then wrap you guys up at all, but I don't mean to sound.
I think we touched a lot. Do you have your thoughts on anything specific? I guess that probably be the best thing.
I don't want to get too much into Pacers Knicks. I mean Pacers OKC.
Yeah.
You had a good point, Will, about something you said about Louisville we were just talking about, and it made me think. It immediately was like, that's the only way the Pacers are going to win this series is if they can do that.
With the small ball shooting a bunch of threes?
No, because
fast.
I know those things, but it's something you said specifically
before you came on, or while
we just like 3 or 4
minutes ago.
Yeah,
you said it about Louisville. You're saying?
Yeah, something about Louisville and playing and the
Okay.
things this roster is going to do, something that this roster is going to specifically be able to do. And I don't know. I just immediately thought about the only way that the Pacers are going to be able to win this series is if they combat something that OKC does well. They're going to have to do it better, but I can't really remember what that was. And it's weird that I remember specifically that aspect of wording it in my head, but can't remember.
But not the
Whatever.
actual concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's goofy. I'm just brain farting because then I got right back into the Louisville process of thoughts.
Yeah.
ADHD mind can't keep up here with itself. But one thing I just want to when I think about this series, before I'm not going to give a prediction out or anything, but we will have a Real Spill NBA show before Thursday. Obviously, Game 1 starts Thursday for the NBA Finals. I'm going to try to see if I can get some like Big X or Real Spill media passes, 1 or 2. See if we can go up there, fellas. Maybe 1 or
That'd be
2 of us.
awesome, man. Yeah.
Maybe for that Game 3 or Game 4, maybe both or something. I don't know, but tickets are outrageous, so I'm going to look into a media pass potentially.
Yeah, I was going to say
we're
that'd be
close
awesome.
enough. We're close enough. I feel like Real Spill gets enough listeners and followers.
Yeah, right now we
Yeah.
got 97. So
There you
Yeah.
go. That's
Something.
97 people that want to hear us go cover the games live. So
Yeah.
I think when I look at this series, though, one of the overwhelming things that I was thinking about earlier when I was doing my breakdown, I was watching a little bit of highlights from the two teams in their last series, was the Pacers' inability to create good shots against good defense. When
Yeah.
they when
When it was a
the
half court
perfect
game, basically.
on a perfect
Yeah.
slow half court defense, and the Knicks' switchability was matching the personnel out there. And every
Yeah.
time they did switch, it didn't create a mismatch, and that kind of only existed when Cat was off the floor, coincidentally, because
Yeah.
they would hunt the Halliburton versus Cat matchup in the latter 2 games of that series. Outside of that matchup, though, there wasn't a lot of mismatches. And when the Knicks could switch everything in a slow half court defense, the Pacers struggled to create good shots. A lot of contested shots. And what's the OKC best at? Switching everything, selling out for like they don't care about the matchup. They don't care about cross matches. They don't care about mismatches. Whoever's in front of the ball at the time of transition is going to defend them as hard as they
Yeah.
possibly can, and they're going to bank on that after 48 minutes straight, overcoming your ability to make tough shots if you do in the first place.
Yeah.
Because they don't allow for many mismatches, right? And I looked up some stats in between those 2 series, in between those 2 teams and the 2 regular season matchups they played. And I only watched the highlights on the first matchup. And Shea, he just got over. He got over on him. He got to his spots at will. And that was Naismith was out. Matherin was starting. So that wasn't even the same team. Plus it was
Yeah. Not
December.
at all.
Not even the
Yeah.
same team, not the same
Yeah.
refereeing, nothing about it is the same at all. But
Yeah.
one thing that doesn't really change is certain guys' ability to get to their spots against certain teams because of certain teams' defensive makeup. And the drop coverage was just you can't play drop coverage, right? And
Yeah.
I think the OKC's ability to create mismatches with with the other guys and exploit you every single time you make a mistake. That's that championship level processing that they've got. That I feel like they've got it to a certain a higher. We used to see it with the Warriors and Cavs. They're out there
Yeah.
playing a different brand of basketball than everybody else from
Mhm.
2016 to 2015 to 2018, 2019. Not even close. Like you, as a neutral, would know what the Warriors were going to do in their sets because of it was just black and white, concrete. When the
Yeah.
ball gets here, this player's going to probe here. If you react this way, it's going to lead to this. If you react, Draymond, like every time you got the ball, you knew what Draymond was going to do with the prime Warriors because
Yeah.
you knew what the defense had to do, right?
Yeah.
That championship processing and decision making, the OKC has it on both ends. I feel like
Yeah.
the Pacers have it offensively. Something tells me they don't really have it defensively. And then in terms of tough shot making, KJ, outside of Halliburton, who is limited on his ability to hit tough shots from 3 due to his weird set timing thing with his wrist on his jump. It's weird that he has that fluid sidestep leaning
Yeah.
mid-range fadeaway, but
Yeah.
all he has is the straight step back kind of the step back 3 when he goes straight back kind of. It's kind of
Yeah.
reliable, but outside of that, he doesn't have a lot of tough shot making ability off the dribble from 3. He's going to need that in this series, right? Because he's going to have Dort. He's going to have Caruso on him. He's going to have guys that are tough to get around, but you can shoot over. Is he going to be able to deal with that? I don't know. Is Naismith going to be able to hit tough shots with a J-Dub on him, with Dort on him when Caruso's on a Shea? I just don't know if the Pacers are going to be able to make tough shots. Mathurin, his three ball. I don't know. I don't think it's enough. I don't think the tough shot making ability is enough. I don't think from their main five guys the 3-point shooting is enough. But we're gonna have to see. Will, what do you think when you? I mean, I missed what you guys said. You guys probably already broken down your thoughts a little bit, but that's where I'm at. I overwhelmingly think OKC is just going to have too much defense for switch. When they switch and they don't lose anything in any matchups that they do switch on with the 8 guys that they rotate with, and then the 3-point shooting on the other end that they've got as well that they don't lose out on, and the Pacers' kind of inability to guard tough shot makers. It's just I don't know. Feels like an overwhelming favorite in here for a reason for me. What do you think?
I mean, I went into pretty extensive detail earlier, so I'll just say I agree with a lot of what you said. I have the Thunder in 7, ultimately. So I think it's going to be a good series. The Pacers have a few ways to challenge the Thunder and possibly even win the series if they play their cards right. But I don't know. I think the Thunder having home court is probably going to be the difference in the series.
Yeah.
So.
What'd you say, KJ? What was your main takeaway? Did you guys have like X factors or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with your points. My biggest thing was the things that the Pacers do. This, their depth, the way they run the floor, the way they run tempo, the way they win the possession battle. The Thunder do that. They do it better, and they're more athletic. They're younger. They have a more versatile team. So that was kind of my biggest thing. It's just you're looking at one team who does these things better than the other. So I
Yeah.
think the Thunder could. I think they could sweep them, but I think it will be 4 close games. I think this will be a very close series, but I
Yeah, the
expect the Thunder to like win.
Pacers put up 114 and 120 on them, I think, in 2 losses.
Yeah.
Or 111 and 120, I think. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll get more into that on the NBA Real Spill show, the Real Spill NBA show. Messing up my own shows here, fellas. I think that's enough for me. I don't got anything else.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys so
Yeah.
much for running that first 85% of that show for me.
Of course. Yeah.
But that's part of it. That's part of having 3 or 4 guys on one show. 2 guys can go on, 3 guys can go on. Guys can come in and out. I join up. Trev leaves. You still got 3. That's the joy in it. That's why you build a team, right, fellas? So that's it for me.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm all good.
All right, boys.
Thank you guys so much for joining. Like, subscribe, comment down below, share with your friends. Shout out to Rashawn for letting us use his X account and, of course, his Restream account for making this look good and us do this. Shout out to Will. Shout out to KJ. Go follow them at Will Wigginton I forgot your
It's like complex. It's like I need to shorten it because there's like 2 underscores in there. It's like
Yeah, we need to
it
shorten that.
underscore B underscore Kindle. Yeah.
Go through my following, type Kindle. It'll pop up
Yeah.
for sure. Give him a follow. Give Will a follow. Like, comment, subscribe below. Will, that's it for me. You can end this.